So we have officially gotten an unofficial leak that is actually quite credible and doesn't come from Tom Henderson regarding the actual release date for XDefiant. Believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, this might be something worth paying attention to. But this is XDefiant, and you guys know at this point that it doesn't really matter what is being said or who it's coming from. Until the game's in our hands, we really don't know anything. But let's have some fun today and talk about some actual really interesting, unofficial yet kind of official leaks that have happened today, and they actually could very well spell the date for the launch of XDefiant. But wait, before we get to that, hit like on this video. Thank you. All right, so at this point, we have pretty much scratched off of the calendar the whole concept of the March 31st deadline for a release of XDefiant. We've been thinking for a while that it could actually come out before the end of March. At this point, not really thinking that's the case anymore. Tom Henderson has come out and said some things saying, hey, yada, yada. It's not coming out at the end of March, and really, all of those hopes and dreams have just been squandered. However, they've been replaced by some new hopes and dreams. At least we're hoping so. A known leaker in the Rainbow Six community has come out today with some actual leaks. Now, I'm going to preface this by stating I will not be showing any actual images on this video. If you guys want to see what has been shared, you can go on Twitter and you can search up XDefiant, scroll down in the latest tab, and you'll be able to find it, or you can check out some of your favorite creators in the XDefiant community. Some of them have retweeted it, some of them have not, but my suggestion is just to go to Twitter and take a look. You'll find them over there somewhere. With that being said, there have been some really interesting bundles that have been showcased today. 2 separate posts have been shown off, and they look really freaking cool. Now, these bundles are actually for Season 0. They're not Season 1, Season 2, Season 3, etc. These are Season 0, so the preseason bundles that we're going to be able to have our hands on, essentially, within the first 6 weeks of the game launching. Now, one of these I actually really like. It's kind of really futuristic and almost has like a Blade Runner sort of vibe to it, very neon lights. If you guys at all played Starfield, there's that one city that's like just covered in neon lights, or probably Cyberpunk is a better explanation of that. It's just really interesting. It's very futuristic. It's very colorful and vibrant. Gives me a lot of Blade Runner vibes. I'm very excited for this one. This looks pretty cool. Now, honestly, the one that I probably like the most so far is actually shown off with the Cleaners faction. And even though the Cleaners faction wasn't even in really my top 3 faction tier list for XDefiant so far, I'm definitely gonna be copping this just to see what it looks like on my character. It looks really cool. I wish I could show you guys what these look like, but I'm not going to run the risk of doing that. Again, if you guys want to see these, you can go to Twitter, you can search it up yourself, you can find it. It's all there and available. As of the time of recording, it has not been DMCA striked yet. Something that I have been really interested about learning is when it comes to XDefiant, how will the post-launch cosmetics actually be in the game? Or really, how will the launch cosmetics be, I guess? Because being a free-to-play game, you really do need to incentivize people to purchase things via the store and the battle pass, etc., etc. I was really interested to see how will they approach the cosmetics side of things. Being that it's a first-person game, sometimes the character skins can be a little lackluster because there's not always a lot of places to show off your character. A lot of times third-person shooters like Fortnite, for example, have a really great job of adding amazing skins because you're constantly looking at your character. But I was really interested to see how that would be implemented within XDefiant, and at least in this leak here so far, showing off 2 of them, I think it is really good. And I've heard a lot of great things. Now I'm seeing some great things, and I'm very excited to see all of the great things when the game actually does come out. Now, some interesting news regarding the seasons themselves. Season 0, the preseason, and again, we all know the game is launching in Season 0 or launching in the preseason, and that is a 6-week time frame. That has been stated to us in the past. 6 weeks will be the total time frame of the preseason, or of Season 0. That preseason will also have a battle pass, but that battle pass will be 50 tiers. That has been stated here from this leaker, Frax. He says it will be 50 tiers for the battle pass. Now, again, let me just take a step back here for a second. Why should we believe this leak? Why should we believe this leaker? Well, first off, take everything with a grain of salt. All of this could be false, or it could change. All of that is absolutely true and accurate. It could change at this point, but looking at track records, which is also what we're doing with Tom Henderson, by the way, we're looking at his track record. Everything here points to this being potentially accurate. With that said, we're gonna roll with this, and we're gonna assume that everything that he is stating here is accurate to the best of their knowledge. So with that being said, again, Season 0, 50 tiers in the Battle Pass, but that's not where it stops. We actually have some details about a Season 1 launch date, and then also we can then deduce the Season 0 launch date, which would be the release date of the game. With that said, Frax states here that Season 1 will last until June 19th. It is actually the day before summer. Believe it or not, summer starts on June 20th. So technically, this would be a spring release, right? Technically, but yes, June 19th is supposed to be the last day of Season 0 and subsequently the first day of Season 1. So Season 0 ends on June 19th, Season 1 begins on June 19th. Now, remember what I stated earlier in this video. Season 0 is supposed to be slated for a 6-week time frame. So if we were to look at this date and say that June 19th is the last day of Season 0, the first day of Season 1, we backtrack now 6 weeks. That puts us at a potential launch date of May 8th. May 8th could, based off of this information, be the launch time for XDefiant. Now, that is not including any sort of early access period, which there's been up and down information about whether or not we believe there will be an early access or there won't be an early access. We don't know. We haven't officially heard any updated information about that, but this is not including anything like that. This is just simply stating if we backtrack 6 weeks from June 19th, May 8th is exactly 6 weeks. Now, the interesting thing though is that that is a Wednesday. I don't necessarily believe that they would launch a game on a Wednesday, but I also think that a Wednesday is far more plausible than a Sunday or something like that. And also too, I believe Apex Legends got dropped on a Monday. That's of course an outlier of a situation, but still, what I'm trying to say is that a Wednesday, while being abnormal, is not completely out of the realm of possibilities. And also, too, shout out to Panda for this perspective. Perhaps that Wednesday is more of an early access launch time. Maybe it's Wednesday, Thursday early access, and then Friday's official open launch date for everything. Maybe, or maybe that May 8th timeframe is more of like the week of May 8th rather than just the exact date. Again, listen very closely. This is not confirmed by Ubisoft. This is not confirmed by Mark. This is not confirmed by anybody other than the leaker here, Frax. Again, credible as it may be, not confirmed. So take all of this with a grain of salt, but I will say personally, this does give me some hope that maybe we do have a path forward that is a little bit more clear than what we were looking at beforehand. Now, of course, the elephant in the room here, this game was apparently supposed to be launching at the end of February. So how do we go from the last week of February to the beginning/middle of May? We're now skipping March and April. That's a 2+ month delay at that point. Delay, I know, it hasn't been officially delayed, but still, you get my point. It's very interesting that we could potentially be looking at a 2+ month delay going from late February to early/middle of May. Now, I will say, personally, I think this would be a great move. You're then getting into the point where most people are either out of school or getting to be out of school. You're kind of back in the same position you were last year, grabbing all the new summer people hopping on your game. I honestly don't see this as being a bad thing. Now, really, the question though is, if this is in fact going to be the launch day for XDefiant, when are we going to hear about this from Ubisoft? We're now really closing in on the last week of March at this point, and we know that Tom Henderson has stated he's going to release his full report diving into the depths of the whole development of XDefiant in the last week of March. He said he's going to wait till the end of March to release that report. Really, the question is Ubisoft going to jump ahead of that report, or is Tom Henderson going to release it first and then Ubisoft is going to have to make some sort of response? Will they even recognize it at all? Will they even make a peep about the whole thing? Honestly, at this point, shoot, man, they might just not say anything, and we might be waiting until the middle of April before they even mention anything regarding XDefiant. We've heard how volatile this whole development process for XDefiant has been, so maybe they don't even want to say anything until they know crystal clear that it is in fact coming out on May 8th. But I'll tell you what, if it misses a May 8th sort of time frame of release, bruh, I don't know, this whole world is gonna set on fire. But I'll tell you what, personally speaking, I think that this time frame makes a whole lot of sense, starting with Season 0 in the beginning/middle of May, starting Season 1 the day before summer, so basically a summer release for Season 1. And also, by the way, Summer Games Fest is actually June 7th this year, and in fact, last year, during that sort of time frame of Summer Games Fest, we had UbiForward, and on June 12th, they gave us a whole recap of what XDefiant showed off during that time frame. So, I mean, realistically speaking, then this year during Summer Games Fest / UbiForward time frame, we can have a showcase for what is coming in Season 1. I think that actually would make a lot of sense, especially considering the fact that Season 1 is probably the more spiritual release of the game, right? Like Season 0 is the launch, but Season 1 is when things really get going, if that makes sense. That's when a lot of different features and stuff is going to be jumping fully into the game. I think being able to show it off at Summer Games Fest, really developing that hype and having a surge of players at that June 19th timeframe, I think makes a lot of sense. I'm just going to say it. But with that said, what do you guys think of this situation? Let me know in the comments down below. Do you believe this leak? Do you believe that the game is coming out in May? Do you think that Season 1 is coming out in June? Sound off in the comments. I really want to see what everyone is saying. It's been a very interesting time in the XDefiant community online lately, so I want to see what all of you guys have to say about this stuff. Now, with all that said, if you guys want to know about potentially what could actually be launching with the game, right? Because we've been in at this point, it might be like an 8-month delay. Do you guys want to see what's actually potentially going to launch with the game as far as content is concerned? Well, check out this video on screen now.